Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another exciting episode of the VOD Squad, the show where we talk about streaming technology. This is episode 227 on March 24th, 2021. I am Clyde, and today I am joined by Matthew Ross.
I'm feeling a little dizzy.
Michael Aston.
Howdy, everybody.
Jimmy Trammell.
Hey guys, and I too am feeling dizzy, but probably not for the same reason Matt is.
I'm thoroughly impressed. First, I did not realize that our intro music was Thrasher Headbanger music.
Yeah.
Second, I'm impressed your glasses and earphones all stayed on through that, because that was some pretty impressive headbanging. And I am not surprised at all that you're dizzy.
Yeah, just a little hint for the show, you guys. Every show, I do a little dance. While the music is playing, we're waiting for it to start. I just do, whether it's just a little kind of thing or it's something just a little silly. And I always try to just get a smile out of everybody to get the good mood going. And this time, I was inspired.
It's like you were in the
let it all go.
Rage Against the Machine concert or something.
Yeah,
Which means
sure.
you were moshing but not enjoying the music.
Oh, is that? Then that was me. I was enjoying the music though, but I don't enjoy Rage Against the
Sorry,
Machine.
I'm not a Rage fan.
The funny thing is, I too have danced for 227 episodes, yet none of you have ever seen it.
Nope, we've. Well, actually, we could see a little bit of. No, we can't. That's right.
Because
We
I'm just doing the thing.
Oh, that sucks.
See, and that is why I take that moment out of my day, out of my week, to get all the dancing out. That way, there will never ever be clips of me on the internet potentially dancing that could be used to blackmail me.
But you are recording this, right?
I am recording this.
So, in other words, it's possible you had a
that
copy of what I just did.
Dancing is of the devil, so you got to get the devil out of you when nobody can see.
Yeah. So is
John Lithgow. It was John Lithgow, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Footloose.
Mike's gonna drive out to the abandoned factory.
That's exactly what I thought of when you said you only danced when nobody was looking. So I was like, uh-oh.
Well, isn't that like a phrase? Dance like nobody's looking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a thing.
I think that's bad advice.
And that's
Because if you know that people are looking, you're
Maybe you'll
more
dance a little better.
likely to put some effort into it.
And that references exactly 0 degrees from Kevin Bacon.
Yep. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, with all that out of the way,
I also appreciated how you introduced every single one of us with the Interrobang, which I just learned about today. So that was great.
I tried.
Yeah. If you missed the pre-show, there was an awful lot of Interrobang discussion today. Mm-hmm. It was wonderful.
Interrobang your way into my heart, or into your heart, which is how that all started. So, okay. Matt,
hey,
what
should
are we
we
here
talk
for?
about the news?
Yeah.
We should talk about AT&T. AT&T is doing, it's complying to net neutrality laws, everybody. Isn't that great news? No, AT&T has been taken to court for some of their zero rating that they've been doing in California by the California courts. And because of that, AT&T has decided to change their rules. The rule was before, hey, if you're on an AT&T device and you are getting HBO Max, we're not going to count HBO Max's the traffic against you on your device. That's called zero rating, said California. You can do that if you do that for all the different companies that are doing the video, but if you're only doing it for your own, that's not fair. And so AT&T says, okay, we're gonna turn that feature off for everybody everywhere. You're welcome.
Oh boy. So
Another example of how California's stupid laws hurt everybody.
yeah, I mean, I didn't realize that free internet was known to cause cancer in California, but apparently it is. But no, I mean, I agree that this sucks. And I mean, assuming you were an AT&T subscriber and had HBO Max. But what I would say is that I think the law's intentions are actually fairly decent, and a state law seems practically reasonable. You just don't live in that state if the laws aren't to your liking. You know, certainly would be annoyed to see this as a federal law. But you know, while this is the challenge that we have with laws, the lawmakers so seldom understand the implications of the laws that they make related to technology that they oftentimes have unintended consequences. And this is the real issue with having lawyers making our laws. And well, since most legislators are lawyers, and not having tech people involved in writing tech law.
Well, okay. There's a couple things here that probably need to be said. AT&T could fix this in many different ways. Probably the easiest way for them to do it is just go, oh, you're coming from an IP address that we know comes from California? We're not going to zero rate you. They can do that. It's not that hard.
Okay, but the problem is with these California laws, there are many ways that you could shoot yourself in the foot. So you must just be all in. Like the Proposition 65 thing that Mike alluded to, which is the requirement that anybody that sells something with that contains a list of anything from a list of possible carcinogens must carry that Proposition 65 marking that says this is known to the state of California to blah, blah, blah. Right?
Gotcha.
So this one is a perfect example because that list is constantly changing. If your product didn't apply to it before, but then they changed that list and now one of those things is in your thing and you didn't go back, pull everything back and reissue everything, then you are in big trouble. Therefore, whether or not there is anything in there, companies just automatically stick it on the product that goes everywhere in the world because, I don't know, maybe, but we're better off just covering our butts and saying, you know, this sticker.
This may contain something that is...
Well,
but the thing is, you could have someone in California that is connected to some sort of VPN or behind a network that is not using a known, and they are in California. Now you just broke the law because you didn't because you didn't do the thing, and then California comes after you. So,
if AT&T has any servers in California that are serving, or if HBO has servers in California serving outside of California, so that would also qualify because even though the customer is not there, the provider is, and the provider is the one that's doing it. So they have to comply with the laws there. And, you know, I don't know if either HBO or AT&T is headquartered in California, but that could also potentially cause issues.
Yeah, there's just you open yourself to so many different ways. It's just easier.
Like Clyde said, you know, it's the same thing with emissions, right? Like automobile manufacturers work to change their emissions for all of their vehicles because of the fact that California has a tight regulation on what emissions are allowed to be sold in California. So they have to match it across the board because it's easier to do that than to
there are two different versions. You buy the California version or the federal version.
Right. And so,
But the
yeah,
problem is,
gotta
if you
say,
have a
like,
federal version, you can't bring it into California. But-
all I was going to say there was, hey, back when I had my Honda Civic, like 1995 Honda Civic, and I had to replace the intake manifold on it because it cracked, and I got the wrong one because of mine needed to be the California one because it was sold originally in California, and the one I bought was not.
Mhm.
And it was like, I can't use this one.
ESRB.
Yeah, there's two different versions there. Also, AT&T can do this because other companies are doing this kind of thing to take care of it. Or they can zero rate all the different problem people out there, or they could do this and just make everybody angry with them, and that's fine.
Well,
too.
no, I mean, and you guys are missing the obvious solution that they clearly want to avoid. Just don't have a data cap.
Right.
Don't have a data cap, problem solved.
So, and that's the thing I wanted to point out, that this is really talking about wireless customers, right? Because I am an AT&T subscriber, but to the fiber, there are no data caps there.
No.
So I'm pretty much, and I get HBO Max, and I'm zero rated on everything I get, pretty much, right?
Pretty much.
So
yeah.
So it's mostly to mobile customers.
And I mean,
Yeah.
And this was something that in the past, if you go back about 6 years ago, like T-Mobile was, or maybe it was Verizon, was saying, no. Oh yeah, if you use, it was Verizon because they had their Go 90. It was like, well, this Go 90 thing, it will not count against your data cap, and everybody said, oh yeah, that's fine. And people got mad, but it was pretty much decided that, it's your service, it's internal, they can do that. But now California's saying nope.
This is like on the low end of net neutrality, quite frankly, and this kind of zero rating thing it isn't really, it's not harming most customers.
No. Yeah, it's not. What would be if
they were slowing down the competition,
Yes.
and you want to watch Netflix, you can only watch that in 480p, but if you want to watch ours, you can get full 4K and all.
Exactly, and that's the point.
That's the kind of stuff that's real net neutrality kind of stuff we have to deal with. This stuff is really small potatoes in comparison, but it is something that people are interested in hearing about. Thus, I've decided to leave it as a story for this week. Should we talk about
California?
Let's talk about something that makes everybody happy. How about Amazon's Fire TV and the fact that they have a free news app on there? Isn't that grand? They've got this news app service on there that's actually picking up a lot of different local areas for their news, and I think they've got now up to 88 cities available inside the service. That means if you have access to an Amazon device, you can get your local news in any of these 88 cities at a total of 120 different channels. So that's pretty good, but not as good as some of the other guys out there. There's still the guys at News On, for example, that have, 275 different news stations up and running on that. So there's still some catching up to do from that. Have you ever used the Fire TV news app?
No, while I use my Fire TV very regularly, the news app itself, I mean, first of all, you got to want to watch local news. I mean, that right there pretty much eliminates my interest in using this. Second of all, I have Hulu TV at the moment and have for most of the time that I have it about 8 months of the year because for whatever reason. So I would just use that if I wanted to see local channels and local news.
Perfect example, or that kind of backs up my boycott of the news. Last year when Minneapolis was on fire, I had no clue anything was going on. It was perfectly nice and sunny and quiet outside my door. The only reason I knew anything was going on is people started messaging me saying, "Hey, are you okay?" Yeah.
What is that concept? If the news is big enough, it will get to you.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
Like
and that's the thing is, and
big
that's
enough
one
piece
thing
of news.
I learned a long time ago is life is much better when you don't have someone constantly telling you every day how terrible life is.
Ignorance
If
is
there
bliss.
is something, important that I need to know about, it will get to me, and
Yep.
I am then incentivized to go out and look it up myself rather than just trusting one person's point of view, and then I get all the info I need to make my decision.
I think in today's crazy news world and the 24-hour news cycle and the various kinds of news and how it's presented, I think you're right. In today's world, news ignorance is bliss.
It is.
I think
and
you
I mean,
might be
especially
right.
since everybody is so in such a hurry to be the first. They got to be the first
Right.
one, so they don't bother vetting it. And then
Yeah.
it's like, well, the truth is actually this, and no, I don't like that. I'm gonna put it the way I want it. And I told you guys that story. Because for a while I worked across the street from the Red Star Tribune. And dude was bragging about his new story that was coming out today, and he was blah blah blah. It was like a hit piece on Donald Trump, right? And somebody and the other people there, they're like, no, all of that was disproven. That's not real. He says, nope, I'm the one that's telling the story. Whatever I write is the truth. And
that is yellow journalism.
And
everybody.
I walked away and I said, and that is I told him, I said, that is exactly why the news media is so corrupt and people are so misled these days. And I walked away. I was like, and that's one of the reasons I refer to that is the Red Star Review or Red Star Tribune. But
oh well.
Yeah. Well,
hey, go ahead.
I was just going to say, so now at this point, two of us have the ability to watch on Fire TV. I finally found the list. It includes Austin, Texas. So.
Yep. And San Antonio and San Diego and Orlando, Tulsa.
Yeah, it's a pretty big list.
Washington D.C.
But I don't. Maybe Jimmy could get it from the nearby city. I don't know. But
apparently this doesn't match the 275 news station that on the long running News On app, which is also available on the Fire TV along with Roku.
Mm-hmm.
So
cool.
Pretty much get everything you want there.
Yeah.
That's okay. Amazon will end up winning because it's Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
All right. GeForce Now will also end up being a winner in my book. I think so, because GeForce Now is only $5 a month, right?
Not anymore.
Oh well, if you did get in on the subscription plan for GeForce Now for $5 a month, lucky you. You have been grandfathered into what's called a founders tier, where you will continue to pay $5 a month. But any new subscribers to the service are going to be having to pay $10 a month in order to get access to that service. They still do have the free service available for you up to an hour. So you can still use the service for free for trying things out, and or maybe you just don't want to play for that long.
Mm-hmm.
But they are requiring now $10 a month for you to have access to the higher resolution, ray tracing supported, DLSS supported version of the service. Which, if you ask me, actually that makes sense. It's expensive, guys. Servers are expensive.
Yeah,
it's only $10 a month. It's fine.
20 data centers, and that's a lot of cost. And staff and servers in there and such. So yeah, I agree. Having a very small rack in a single data center, I know how much I pay for that at my work. So I can imagine how expensive it would be to have a system that could do this.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it depends on if more than 800 games is worth $10 a month for you or not.
Well, it actually doesn't come with the games. You have to have your own games to bring to it. and only supports certain games, which is one of the sticking points for me about GeForce Now. Is that, hey, I want to play a Blizzard game on there, and no, and I blame Blizzard. Blizzard pulled support for it. It's not GeForce's
they were
problem.
there before.
Yeah, for the beta, they said sure, whatever. And as soon as they launched, Blizzard said, "Nope, sorry, no, we're not allowing it on your full product." It was there briefly, and then they got rid of it. And it's because Blizzard decided, no, we're not allowing it, which is insane. It's just a computer in the cloud. I've been considering for some time now of signing up for Shadow, so I can have access to a virtual machine in the cloud. I have been paying for the Stadia, and if I were to go to Shadow and if it was a good service, I probably would, pull my Stadia for my Shadow. And try to do it that way. Also, I'm wondering if I can actually do the show through the Shadow box. It's a thought.
Shadow should do themselves a favor and approach Shadow Stevens to be their spokesperson. Gary Busey, Pet Justice, they got him as the announcer, and that show had no budget, and it was the greatest thing that they ever did. So, aside from making Gary Busey dole out Pet Justice, but yes.
Well, hey, only the Shadow knows.
Exactly.
If also remember from a couple weeks ago, only the Shadow is in bankruptcy, unfortunately. Well, it's hard for they can't get hardware for their servers right now. It's really such a problem. Anyways, hey, so Evo is one of the most popular esports tournament organizations out there. It's been extremely popular for various games, from the fighting games that are out there for Street Fighter and other ones like that. It's also popular for some of the various what do they call arena battle games out there. It is now been purchased by Sony Entertainment, which means
they're all going to be converting to PS5.
I don't know. I do know that when's the last time Sony purchased something and it was a service and it went well?
Well, they bought Funimation, which is Funimation Now, which is my go-to anime service. They haven't made it better, but they also haven't made it worse. It's basically the same crappy website it was. But then again, they did just buy Crunchyroll recently, and I have seen the catalog increase on Funimation. So
my opinion of a large company buying a service, if nothing changes, they did a good job. Perfect. You're making money off of that investment. Don't mess with it.
Yeah, don't be a Cisco to everyone's Linksys. You buy it, you run it into the ground and say this is a terrible product, and then you sell it to Belkin.
Did they sell it to Belkin?
Oh yeah, they sold it to
really?
Belkin. That's why
Belkin?
all Linksys products for the last 10 years are just rebadged Belkin stuff. If you look on the bottom of the box or on the back, it'll say by Belkin. But yeah, I mean, it's also a tournament, so
yeah.
I mean,
yeah, no, Evo is so popular. There are people who will go crazy to watch their Evo stuff. It's they really love watching some of those games that come out on there. And it used to be really big in arenas. They would sell out arenas as well. So who knows? Maybe eventually they'll make it. Maybe they got a really good deal due to the current economic situation. Maybe Sony was able to get in there and get them for a good price. Who knows? Tableau, good old Tableau. If you've been a cord cutter for a while, you might remember the various Tableau devices out there, those little HDI, those various tuners, over-the-air tuners. Tableau has a new one out. This one is unique for one very, interesting reason. It's a Tableau, which has a quad tuner, and it has an HDMI, aka it's a set-top box. Generally, Tableaus are actually just the hard drive connected to the network, connected to your device, and you would access it through some other device like a Roku or some other set-top box. But this one does it itself, and you can control your shows and watch it directly on it. It comes with a 1 terabyte hard drive built into it as well, so that's good.
This is exactly what we needed 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
I didn't know you could still buy hard drives that were only 1 terabyte. Come on, people. Putting current size technology into your devices.
All my hard drives are 1 terabyte. Well, except
I always,
for my portable.
Well, my
2
NVMe, my NVMe is 1 terabyte. But I mean, I'm assuming this is spinning disk.
It should be.
Yeah. So it's like, come on. Like,
it'd be a bad idea to put a solid state disk in that thing because you're constantly writing and rewriting. You would hit that write limit so fast.
Exactly. So I think it should be an optical disk. There's no reason to spend the extra money. It wouldn't benefit.
Yeah, if that's the case, then you should have like a 5 terabyte drive in there.
Exactly. Come on.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. So if you're a fan of This Old House, you can still watch it on PBS. Nothing's changing there. But if you're still a fan of This Old House and wish you could, watch all the old episodes and wish there was an easy way for you to do that, Roku's got you covered. Roku has just purchased the rights to the entire 1,500 episode back catalog and is making it available, including the newest episodes, right on the Roku device using the Roku channel, and also other devices using the Roku channel. So Roku's going to be the streaming space if you want to watch This Old House, even the old ones or the new ones of This Old House, wherever you go.
I've been watching that show for 30 years.
I've stopped watching it because I was a kid, but I remember Bob Vila, and then I came back to it, and it's like, who's this other guy? I don't know this guy. Apparently he's fine. He's a good guy, but I just don't know him.
Well, remind me later. We'll talk about him.
Okay.
His story is actually kind of cool.
Okay.
But no, I just wish they would have gotten Old Yankee Workshop because that was my show. I just want to watch Norm Abrams work with wood.
That's the guy with the hat, right?
He was always the dude with the beard. He's basically the master carpenter. But yeah, he's the one that's always had a beard, I think. But we'll see. Glasses.
Yeah, I think I know who you were, but I seem to remember him in like an old English cap kind of thing.
I might sometime, but
might have been a thing. All right. So here we are. Apple has a HomePod Mini. It's been a very popular device for the Apple users out there, and it's got a hidden sensor inside. That's right. You didn't know it, but they're watching you. No, they're not, and they're totally listening to you. Well, they are because it's a interactive speaker, because that's what they do. No, they're totally figuring out what the temperature and humidity is in your house if they have that sensor turned on, which they haven't turned on yet. So yep, there's actually a hidden sensor inside the device that has apparently not been enabled yet, but may be enabled in the future in order to be able to figure out what temperature it is and how humid it is where that device is. Remember back in a couple of years ago, and that we were there was something like a sensor that was built into, I think, the Nest Hub, the temperature thing, and there was a hidden microphone or something in it, and everybody freaked out. Mm-hmm. I don't think they're going to freak out about this. I wonder why.
Sheep.
No.
I mean, here's the thing.
I'm kidding.
This is it. I don't understand why they would build them into the system and not make use of them up front. It's obviously development time and stuff like that, but these are two sensors that could be very useful for everybody. Like I'm often wondering what the temperature is in my office. If my Echo had this built in, I could ask what the temperature is. I have one in my clock, but
you could just say, "Hey, how cold is it in here?" And say, "It's 64 degrees inside here."
Well, usually it's more like, because of the computers and the door being closed, it's 80 degrees in here.
Oh, yeah, it's nice and toasty warm in here, isn't it nice? Or, actually, what I could see is this thing saying, "Hey, it's really hot in here. Could we turn the temperature down?"
I can't do that, Matt.
No,
My take on this is probably some future service that they're going to want to sell would be my guess.
Yeah. And I understand why they wouldn't have said anything about it before, is because you put that thing in there on the off chance that you might find a use for it. You don't want to tell people that, hey, there's this thing in here for future use, because then every day people are going, hey, when are you going to enable that thing that's for future use? I don't know. Hey, are you going to enable that now? How about now? How about now? How about now? So you just say, don't tell people it's there. As long as it's turned off, that's fine. If it's been on and monitoring and sending back telemetry data this whole time, then I would have a problem. But no, I mean, not using stuff that's built into your thing,
right?
Whatever.
I do find it interesting that the sensors are manufactured by Texas Instruments.
Oh yeah.
Are you saying it might be a speak and spell or a speak and say?
It could be.
That would be hilarious.
That's the first thing I think of when I think of Texas Instruments.
I love the idea of having, like, with the Nest thermostat, you can buy a temperature sensor to put in a room and have it cool to make that room be the right temperature and prioritize that room versus where the thermostat is.
Sure.
So, for example, when I'm in here doing the podcast, I could have my Echo, if it was built into my Echo, it could tell the Nest, hey, it's getting pretty hot in the office. Turn the AC down a little, or up a little bit, so that it cools them off.
I just want
nice?
I want a set of adjustable dampers that I can install to customize the airflow through the house. There's like one.
No, there's more than one.
No. I'm saying in my house, there's one damper.
Right.
And it basically, and I found out it had been closed. That's why my bedrooms were always super warm, but the rest of the house was freezing. It's because that damper was closed. So all of the air was being forced in upstairs here in the back. And I opened that up. So it's either everywhere or just, I want to put in the customized dampers that I can just say, make it warmer in this room. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I need a speaker that has a sobriety sensor in it.
Use speech recognition to determine. Yeah.
I have no idea how those work. Okay. All right. So, guys, we recently had a release of Justice League, this new big movie that's been re-released by Zack Snyder. The original release came out to not so much fanfare, and we've been hearing about the fact that we're going to get this new version forever. And so we now have Zack Snyder's Justice League, a 4-hour version of the film, which I've heard some people say, oh my God, it's too long. And other people say it's actually pretty good. I don't know. I haven't seen it. I will see about that. But that's not it. That's not the end of the story. because Zack Snyder has said, you know what? I think it could be even better. Let's do it in black and white. That's right. There's another edition coming out called Zack Snyder's Justice League, Justice is Gray.
And this is the whole reason we started talking about the Interrobang, because why? What are you? Why? What? Just. Okay. First off, I want to say, everybody, this is the thing that nobody could stop talking about for months. Now that it's been out, I haven't heard one person talk about this thing, so it can't be that great.
They're still watching it. That's the problem.
Okay. Okay. So I will admit, this past weekend, I watched it.
Did you watch it in black and white though?
No.
Do you think after watching it, do you think it does need the making it in black and white would have somehow made it better?
No, not really.
Okay.
But I was surprised to see it in 4:3 aspect ratio.
It was in 4:3?
It was in 4:3. Yes.
Yes, it is.
What the what?
Well,
okay.
And I thought the same thing, but I read after, right? The reason why they made it in 4:3 was because that's the format for IMAX theaters, right? So that's the reason why it was in that.
According to Mr. Snyder, which of course apparently he runs the how things work in DC movies right now. Apparently he's the guy who knows. This movie is best seen in a 4:3 aspect ratio because one, it was the format intended for IMAX, and two, it's more comic book style where you can see the taller things and you get that more verticality out of it. Bull BS.
No, here's the thing. He realized that it was so bad that if he wanted to cut as much out of each shot as he could, so he went with 4:3.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say. And the excuse, he found a convenient excuse to explain it away.
Watching both versions, I'll say I like both versions good, but this version here, while it had some interesting parts to it, it was too long. And there was one part kind of toward the end, and I'm not going to spoil anything, but there's one part toward the end that I thought was completely unnecessary. Right. And it probably that one part probably went on for like 40 minutes or so. Right. Something like that. But I mean, it did have some interesting additional content there that kind of made it interesting.
Yeah.
But
you got to see Batman use a bad word.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was thinking about watching Justice League a month or so ago, and so I will probably end up watching this, but you know, I mean, the length is daunting. I don't like watching movies in two sprints, and you know, there's a reason I never went back and rewatched The Lord of the Rings, because I kind of wanted to go back and watch them with the extended versions, but it's such an obscene commitment that I'm like 10 years later still not doing it because I don't have that much time to watch.
It's only 12 hours out of your day, man. Come on.
I mean, Big Baby Burke points out it's in 6 chapters, so you could watch it like a TV show.
Yeah, I mean,
it did have very distinct chapters along the way, right, where you could do it in segments like that and all. I mean, it's long. I mean, you know, but I kind of understand because, you know, you think about the Justice League, right? So you got to kind of give that full explanation of the genesis of the Justice League, right? And that's what this version tries to give you that full, you know, detail of how they came to be, you know, and that kind of thing.
That was actually one of my complaints about the original Justice League movie, was that it tried to give you so much buildup just to make the team that I didn't feel like we got most of what the movie was like theoretically about, which was the last like half of the movie. It was basically 2 movies, the genesis of the Justice League, and then the first big incident that the Justice League responds to. And it really did feel like it rushed through the first half. Mm-hmm. The second half felt pretty rushed as well. So I did always feel like it was just way too much to try to get into one thing. And
I mean, just as an example, right? I mean, you know, in this version of the story, right? You know, at least the question I had when I watched the first one was like, okay, Batman is there. Where's Robin? Right. And in this longer version here, it does speak to that very briefly, right? You have to be quick to catch it, right? But they do speak to that, right? So
Batman was facing charges of like endangering a minor and possible pedophilia, so he had to distance himself from Robin. What wasn't that what was going on?
Well, hey, man, you're not supposed to do any spoilers.
Oh, I'm sorry. But
Okay. So the only joke I've really heard that made me laugh about this new Justice League is that apparently there's so much slow-mo in it that if they didn't have all the slow-mo in it, it'd be a much shorter film, like a normal size. It's like 2 hours. I don't know.
It's got like 2 hours of slow motion. All I know is I had very little interest in seeing the original Justice League movie. And because everybody was so hyped up and excited about this, I had even less motivation to see this version of the Justice League. And now there's a black and white version, makes me even less likely to want to see any of this. I just washing my hands and walking the other direction. Nope. I was never in. Aquaman was fun. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. I mean, in many ways, I feel like the DC characters are generally more interesting than the Marvel characters, but it's interesting how much more effective Marvel has handled the cinematic universe. And I really appreciate Big Baby Burke's comments, because totally on point with, Marvel laid the groundwork through a series of like 20 shows before they got to Infinity War and Endgame. And then, DC basically just jumped straight to making their Infinity War. And tried to cram the whole Infinity War thing at the second half of the movie, and all 20 other movies in the first half of the movie. Yeah. And it just would have made a lot more sense if they would have spread some of those character intros out. But this apparently gives us some more of that, and I think that'll be interesting. So I'll watch it. Maybe I will kind of watch it as a show. I did not realize it came out it was like built in chapters, so there were clear delineating points.
As I keep saying for the last year or so, we've kind of been given all the evidence, and DC should stick to TV and Marvel should stick to movies. They both do one of them well, and they keep failing at the other. So just focus on the thing that you're good at. I mean, DC's got a lot of successful TV shows. Marvel, not so much. And vice versa. So just, yeah, put all that movie money invested into better TV shows.
All right. Hey, if you are a user of Steam, the video game service available on PC and on Mac, you can now use the previously only in beta Steam links to Steam Remote Play, to have remote play together games where you can play multiplayer games with a friend by sending them a link, and they just click the link and launch a Steam for them, and you can both be connected and play together. This also is apparently set up for you to play. It's available now on Mac users as well. So both the PC players and Mac users get to be on there to play these multiplayer games together anytime. They can get the access to a link.
Okay.
What is the point of this for, like, if you're playing like games that are a limited number of slots, like a 40 character game? And it helps you get in the same server together?
No, it's actually like, let's say you have a game that has a local 2-player mode.
Okay.
And I have that game, and you have a copy of the game.
So we're going to play Half-Life.
I mean,
there's no local 2-player mode of
Half-Life. That was the one that started the whole versus.
I do this all the time. I call my friend, and tell him to get on Discord, and then we play together.
Yeah.
No, think of it more like you and I we both want to play Street Fighter. It's it's normally a local game where you guys are playing against each other. It hooks you up with the audio, so you guys can be. It's basically an easy way for you to integrate a game together with a friend.
So it lets you play something that normally requires you to be local over the internet.
Right. And it set up the audio and make it really easy to invite them by sending them a link.
I haven't played a game that didn't have online multiplayer play that had multiplayer play in a very long time. Almost
Team
all
Fortress.
games now have that built in.
Did
Team
Team
Fortress
Fortress have internet?
Multiplayer?
They had a you could roll your own server.
Oh yeah.
I was kidding. Yeah, they didn't have what they did was when Team Fortress 2 came out, yeah, you would roll a server and it would show up in the list. And then when you would go to play, you would choose somebody's server to join.
Yep.
So which was essentially kind
It's
of
similar
doing
to
the
this.
same thing. But that was handled in game as opposed to Steam is making it easy for. So now if you want to play Hearthstone with your friend one-on-one,
Much easier to just send them a link and then they just get on.
yeah, except
Okay.
That's the
Blizzard
idea.
isn't on Steam, so
That's
Yeah.
true.
this
Yeah,
is
that's
the-
interesting. I always play games that have online multiplayer, I guess, so it doesn't occur to me to see a value in it. But I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that will see this as valuable and
Yeah.
um,
Yeah,
cool
so you guys-
features are cool features.
Half-Life Deathmatch, which was modded and created or Counter-Strike, which
Yes, it
then
did.
became its own thing. That's what I was talking about earlier.
Counter-Strike version 0.6 beta. I remember playing those days. Hey, so there's been a lot of rumors coming out from Nintendo is possibly doing an upgraded version of the Nintendo Switch. The rumors have been that it's going to be able to play 4K games, and it's going to have a gigantic screen, and it's going to have better battery life, and actually, some of that might be true. Now it appears that people in the know have been able to talk about what Nintendo may be doing with this, and they appear to be using a new version of the next NVIDIA chip. I think it had the X1 in it, just like the NVIDIA Shield had. And the new version will be probably the X2 or whatever the next version of that chip is inside of it. But it includes the ability to have the newer DLSS, which is the super sampling, which called which is their simpler sampling method, the deep learning super sampling. I have seen demos of this super sampling taking extreme low resolutions, like 320 by 240, and pushing it up to 4K. And it's amazing what this can do, because it can take a really low quality image and using this time delayed based super sampling to literally fill in all those gaps to make that humongous resolution actually look good with a really low source material. If you like, you can actually find a guy demoing it online, because he found a way of unlimiting where he could set his DLSS settings in his local computer, and he was playing Control with a ridiculously low resolution, but set resolution, but that actual resolution set super high, and you could see how amazingly good it did with upscaling it. This new version apparently will have a 7-inch screen, a little bit bigger than the old 6.2 inch that's built into it right now. According to the people in the know, they think that it'll actually fit the same form factor, just get a little bit less bezel, a little closer to the edges for the actual screen. 720p, because apparently Sony has a ton of these 720p OLED displays sitting around, and they're cheap. That's what some people are believing out there. So, and Nintendo is looking to pick them up for a song. And being able to produce this using this chipset and be able to dock into your dock and output to 4K, because normally they output the 1080p, but with this DLSS, they get that everything to upscale beautifully to that 4K. And the kind of graphics that games that Nintendo tends to put on that console will look great with the super sampling.
So what I'm hearing out of all of this is that the new Switch will be built with leftover PS Vita parts.
Well, that's probably not a bad idea, because there's a shortage of a whole bunch of things. But if Sony's got
And
Samsung's
nobody
got a
bought
ton
the
of parts
PS
in their
Vita, so they should have piles of parts.
like, please take this. We don't need them. We'll give it to you real cheap. And actually, I hope that's what's happening, because that makes a lot of sense. It also means that it's very likely that There will be not much of a shortage. Well, there'll be always a shortage because it's a Nintendo console being released. Generally, there's a shortage, but that's good. This excites me because I've seen the emulators emulating Switch games and up to 1080p and 4K when they normally don't, and they're beautiful.
So
Games are
they
beautiful.
switch the games to good quality?
They weren't bad, but okay.
No, they weren't bad, but
now they're good.
they're gooder.
Gooder. Is it good, gooder, goodest?
Goodly is a word.
Goodly.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
this is interesting to me. I don't know how I personally feel about it. I like the idea of more powerful device that can do better graphics, and that they can find a way to do it and still keep the really sleek form factor that it has. My problem is that I don't play it very much. My kids do. And my kids are so happy with it as it is that I wonder why I would want to go out and spend $350 or $400 on one that gets a little better graphics, because they don't care that much. I mean, Pokemon doesn't require super high-end graphics, and
exactly.
and they were able to make the Breath of the Wild look outstanding with the graphics workhouse that they had before. So, I suppose it's probably a good thing that it gets better. I just don't know if I'll spend the money to buy it, because at least unless they have a limited device or limited availability of titles that are only available on it, and there's some really desirable Pokemon titles that my kids got to have. And it might be like a Christmas present or a birthday present or something.
The rumor is it's going to be $50 more. So instead of $300, it's going to be $350 for the updated version. The rumor might coincide possibly with a small price drop of the original version. Generally, that's Nintendo's way of doing things. They come out with a new version, and the old version comes just a little bit down, not much. You're like, oh, I'm gonna when it gets cheap, and it's like goes down $20 for another 4 years. It's like, geez, Nintendo.
Yeah.
But I'm going to wager that Nintendo's goal here is to never make a game, or make very, very few games that require the Pro version, if it's going to be called the Pro. And everything's going to work both ways, whether you have the old one or the new one, because there's so many consoles of those old ones out there. They would be abandoning a bunch of people, their player base, if they couldn't play a game using the older system. So that's okay.
Right.
You know what else is coming out? Black Widow finally is going to be coming to theaters and Disney Plus on the same day.
The spider?
The MCU movie Black Widow.
Oh, I was going to say, it seemed really weird that they would be like shipping Black Widows to theaters. It's like, what did the theaters do to Disney?
Well, Black Widows don't bother me. It's wolf spiders. Ugh.
Well, I mean, Black Widows, you stumble into a nest of them in the dark, you're in trouble.
Oh yeah. I'm well aware. I lived where they love to be in wood piles, and I had to sometimes go get the firewood. Yeah. So look,
if you live on the West Coast and you have a garage, you have Black Widows. You don't need to subscribe to Disney Plus.
Yeah, this is, it doesn't necessarily make me happy or sad. It does mean I have to make a decision, and not one that I wanted to make. I was definitely going to go see it in theaters before. Now I have to decide if I still want to see it in theaters, or if I'd rather watch it from the convenience of my home.
Right. Because both could be good. Both could make you very happy.
For me, that's an easy decision. I have a good setup at home.
Yeah. So do you guys want to wager a guess as to how I will be watching this?
I will wager a guess.
Yes.
You won't.
That was going to be my wager. You won't be watching it.
And you guys would be right. I don't care.
None of us are going to bet against that.
Hey,
I
man.
think we know you well enough.
I mean,
See? I was going to be offended if you'd gone either way.
to Clyde's point, I mean, it is last year's movie, right?
Yeah.
But
So last year. Ugh.
it's last year's movie, but hey, it's got Scarlett Johansson in it, right?
Well,
Also
it's got a
Scarlett Johansson.
version of the Flash that looks like he's like some. I can't think of the guy's name. It looks like Crash McLarson from the Aquabats. You got look him up. Yeah, I don't. The guy's got a star in his chest, so I'm guessing that's supposed to be Captain America, but I don't know. I don't know who any of those people are.
No.
I don't care.
All right. Yeah, I'm excited because I do enjoy Marvel movies and my wife enjoys them, and so we will probably go and see it. We'll probably do it at home because we like it better there, quite frankly. But one other thing is if you have a Samsung TV that's less than 4 years old, starting with Samsung Smart TVs in 2017, they've had some apps that are built into them, and they've just added a new one. You can now get the Many Movies Anywhere app on your Samsung Smart TV built in. This includes the ability for you to do the watch movies anywhere, watch together, which allows you to watch it for the friends, and the Screen Pass feature. So this now has built into your Samsung TV the ability to watch the Movies Anywhere app, so you can watch all your shows together in one place.
Okay,
Good.
I'm surprised it wasn't available on Samsung TVs before. So, congratulations, Samsung.
Yeah, I'm curious how often Samsung updates their smart TVs. I
Not
have
very.
a Samsung TV. It might be new enough to have it, but I barely ever use the smart features. I'll have to turn it on the smart features and see what it actually does. It's a
Well,
thought.
apparently they update them at least once every 4 years.
Oh, okay.
Well, that may be the only update it ever gets.
Right. Is it enough? That is the question. Okay, no, that's not a question.
Well,
How about this? Sonos now has a 24-bit music streaming option. You can use a new, I don't know if it's new, but a service called Qobuz. Qobuz. Not certain how to pronounce that. Which offers high-quality streaming through the Sonos speakers. It's a 24-bit high-res streaming will allow you to listen to amazing music and programs on there with the high fidelity that Sonos supposedly represents.
I believe that's pronounced Cobus.
With a C kind of sound. Or a K sound. Qobuz. I have no
because
idea.
COVID was already taken.
Oh. Well, that would be the video version of that, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay.
So this is
This
24
this
bits.
operates on the audio bus, not video.
Ah. So somebody register covid.com with a Q.
Yes.
Totally use that. And here we are. LG has a new lineup of TVs. This is they are now become available. They're starting off with the gallery edition. These are the ones that look like a painting, and they start at $1,300 for a 48 version of that. They also apparently have some mid-tier options for 48-inch models, going as much as $6,000 for the 83-inch version of those mid-tier devices. You can get and looks like they're also got some of these. An 8K version? No. They have a new line called the ZX line. It starts at $20,000 for a 77-inch version, and
Jimmy,
they have an 88
You
88
got the
version,
wrong
inch version?
TV.
for $30,000. 8K, man. It's
Well,
not enough.
if you had 8K content to play on it, that might be pretty good. Right?
So
when it gets to 64K, it can play my Commodore games, right?
So for $30,000, I could get this awesome TV for my living room,
Yep.
or I
Or-
could get between 40 and 60 cars.
or you could buy storm impact windows like I just did.
Yeah.
Oh, those are expensive. Now, for $30,000, I could finish all my my various landscaping in my front and backyard easily.
I should hope so.
I could pay for my streaming services for a couple of months. Sometimes it feels like that when I realize how many I'm subscribed to and don't even remember.
Dude, you gotta get off title, man. Gotta get off title. Jeez.
So before we move on, were we going to mention that Amazon is updating their remote?
The abomination.
Did I miss it? Go ahead. Go ahead and do it.
Well, I mean, there's not really much to say because I think it's such a non-story that I wasn't sure if we actually talked about it and I missed it or if we
didn't.
skipped it.
It's not a non-story in my opinion. It's $30 to get something that sucks more than what you have now.
See, and this is why I wanted to talk about it was because I wanted to get his thing. Because right off the bat, I say new remote, updated remote, awesome. $30? Hell no. I mean, you can get a whole Fire TV stick with a remote for $30.
And it comes with the remote.
Yeah.
It
Probably a
doesn't come
better
with
one.
This remote, though.
Yeah. I mean,
So what's good about this remote?
it
Has voice.
It's got channel buttons on the bottom. The thing that Clyde hates more than anything.
Roku-esque buttons.
Yeah. I think the voice is already on all of their
That's what I
Fire
thought.
TVs. So I think all it did was add the shortcut buttons, which are obnoxious and they're just going to be in the way. You're going to be launching Netflix every time you pick up the remote to turn the volume up.
They're sitting around and going, well, everybody else is always complaining about how on the Android TV and the Roku remotes, they have these buttons on the bottom that they accidentally push and then launch into other things, and you can't reprogram it, and you can't remove it, you can't turn them off. And someone said, that sounds like a great idea. Get on it.
Exactly. I like everything about this remote, the Roku remote that I have in my office, everything except those stupid shortcut buttons. And now they're saying, let's do that too. Everybody hates it. We're giving people too much of what they want. We need to piss in their cereal.
Everybody hates it except the one person that doesn't. And for
Hey,
once,
that guy?
it's not
Designer
me.
there.
It's not me on the outside going, what?
Hey, you
What?
guy, the
What?
guy, you. I'm talking to you, weird random guy who actually likes this.
Sure.
Don't worry about us. It's whatever. We are just expressing our opinions. You like it. It's cool.
They hired the guy from Roku. He got fired from Roku for
the one
ruining
guy,
the remote.
the one guy,
And then they hired him at Amazon. They were like, dude, let's get this guy. He knows how to
Well,
make
I
remote.
figured they took the engineer, or they took the idea clearly, but I figured they did a one-person focus group, and they just happened to grab the one guy that likes the buttons, and he was the focus group.
I would have thought they would have made this thing with a rechargeable battery in it, but then I read down in the article, 2 AA's.
Yeah.
Double A's. I mean, even my Roku runs like for over a year on, or maybe they are double A's. I was thinking they're triple A's.
Yeah, I think the double A.
Okay, never mind. I take it back. Double A's.
I mean,
good.
from a conservation perspective, it would be better if it was rechargeable, though.
If you eat the batteries, then you're good.
Yeah, I mean, the batteries last a really, really long time. So,
Well, if you run short on suppositories, I guess.
Okay.
And on that note, I would like to say thank you to everybody that supports this show. You know who you are.
and if you need batteries, call Jimmy. He keeps a collection.
I don't know if I would want to touch his batteries. So if you're
Add a new perk level to our Patreon.
Jimmy's batteries, don't ask where they came from. I mean, they might have fallen off a truck. They might have been stored in weird places. Who knows?
I have to find new ways to sober up,
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. So if you are someone, you're not currently supporting us and you would like to be one of the people that we say thank you to and that we appreciate more than everybody else, head on over to patreon.com/thebod squad. Every little bit helps. Nothing is expected. All right. We need to move on. Get to some rants and raves. Here we go. Rants and raves.
Is that an exclamation point or a question mark or an interro
I don't know.
mark?
Keeping it mysterious.
Okay, whatever. Hey, so I remember last week or the week before, and I discussed the idea that I was trying to build a PC.
Yeah.
I was trying to get, the parts. It's
Yeah,
hard right now
yeah.
because parts are hard.
Yeah.
I'm building a PC.
Do you get a
Nice.
video card?
Well, that's the one thing.
Oh.
So hold on. I hope my son isn't watching because it's for him, and all the parts are going to show up, and it's this really awesome case from Fantex. It's got this. It's a very vertical case. It's very cool. The video card, yeah. I was searching in the middle of the night, Newegg, and I came across a GTX 1650 for actual retail price, which is like, what? Because just so you know, if you go on there and search for a 1650, they normally go for $300 right now, which is ridiculous. If you get a 1650 plus, Super or 1660 or any of those, they're like $600. And if I, it's a little insane right now. And I found the vendor. It was an MSI, brand new, $142.
And it wasn't just the box.
No, it's apparently not. But the problem is, it's in China.
Oh.
So, and I'm watching right now. It says it's in processing. Should ship on today's date. I paid for slightly faster shipping, so hopefully it won't be on the slow boat. But
fingers crossed on that one, because China's not known for forgeries or
you know what?
counterfeits.
It's okay. It's okay because I bought it through Newegg, and if it is that problem, Newegg will back me.
You're right.
I know that.
Okay. Yeah, if it came through Newegg, then.
And also, I know I'm reusing the processor. This machine right here that I'm using right now is using a Ryzen 3200G, which is a perfectly fine mid-range chip. And I decided to reuse that, save myself a couple $100 on the machine.
Sure.
That's going into his machine, which means it has built-in Vega 8 graphics in it. So it'll be better than what he's been dealing with.
He'll be the only kid on the block with Vega graphics.
Maybe.
Maybe because that's a joke because people weren't happy with Vega.
It's actually halfway decent.
Yeah, it is. But Vega caught a lot of flack.
Yes, it did.
That's all.
That's okay. But also, normally I'm a kind of, practical guy. Get, whatever. I don't need anything flashy, anything like that. This one is going to be very, very RGB.
Unicorn vomit.
Nice.
Actually,
did you go with?
Let's see. It is the Fantex Evo. Hold on. Evo Shift 2.
Evo Shift 2.
And
Evolve,
it is
right?
You're right. Evolve. Yep, absolutely. And it's a mini ITX case, but it has everything turned on up to the top. The I/O ports are on top. The graphics card is behind the motherboard on top, and it has a little hatch that looks like normal. You close it to hide everything. All the cords get hidden behind the little hatch, but you open up the hatch, you can see all the I/O there. And the graphics card is on one side, a nice profile view of it. And the other side has got all the fans and stuff. They're all going to be glowing. And knowing my son, he's going to make them all blue because that's his thing. So, yeah,
that's a very cool case.
It's going to be. He's going to build it with me, and it's going to be his system, and I'm going to bequeath it to him. At which point he has to upgrade it from this point on.
Looks cool. Looks like a really cool case. Looks like a nightmare to build in.
Oh, but all the sides come off. So
yeah,
But yeah,
like
working in the small.
I love working on small cases. I prefer the mini ITX. That's my way of doing it. So I like that.
I have an interest in ITX, mini ITX. On paper, I think it's awesome. I've never been able to pull the trigger because there always ends up being something that I can't quite do because I need to run a thing and there won't be enough space or blah, blah, blah. And so I always end up just going, yeah, it would be nice. Oh, well.
Well, I'm interested to hear how it goes because this looks like a pretty sweet build.
I might record it, us building it, and put it together and post it. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But it all depends. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens there.
At least live stream it.
It's a possibility too, but I don't know about that. We'll see.
All right.
All right. Mike, you got something?
Yeah. I watched Falcon and Winter Soldier, the new Marvel TV show. I have not gotten to WandaVision yet, but I did watch this one. And I got to say, I liked it. I thought the first episode was good. It was a lot more character building and, a lot less actual fight scenes and stuff than I expected out of a Marvel superhero show. But it was good, and I'm looking forward to the next one. It comes out weekly, so you only get one 40-ish minute episode a week. So it'll be, I think the next one should be out now, or maybe in
Friday.
a couple of days. So
Fridays.
I'm looking forward to watching it. I enjoyed the first one, and I think it'll be a good show, hopefully.
I watched the first episode, and I love how messed up Bucky is.
Yeah.
He's a messed up dude.
Yeah. I usually don't like movies that are more drama. I just want to see things blown up. That's like, I'm very shallow, and that's kind of where I sit. But I thought that they did a good job of like actually giving him reasonable perspectives of the world. Because if you were him, you would be really screwed up. Like that would not be easy to cope with. And watching them all having to deal with the things that happened in Infinity War and Endgame and stuff like that, it's good. So enjoying it so far.
I wanted to watch that one too, but I watched Justice League and just didn't have enough time after that.
Yeah.
You were watching Justice League, and then the sun was coming up, so you figured you better go to bed.
Go to work. He still had a buzz. Couldn't waste it on sleep. Jimmy, you got anything other than a buzz?
Starting to dull out a little bit, so maybe it's almost time to go to bed now. But yeah, so I was watching Cord Killers earlier in the week, and they mentioned a documentary. Actually, it was the trailer that played at the opening part of the show. It was a documentary on Hulu called WeWork, which is about the company WeWork. And I'm a sucker for these kind of documentaries, and it looks very interesting. I watched the trailer. Yeah, I'm all in on this one. It comes out on April 2nd, so waiting for that one to come out.
Okay, this actually a little bit good news, because I thought you mistyped. I thought that was a spelling out a typo for wet work, and that you were going to come out and say that you have been a contract killer all this time, and and that you've been exposed in the documentary. But so,
Clyde, you're ruining his cover.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I thought that. I'm sorry that
don't you know when they call for the Oracle, they're talking about Jimmy?
Yes, that's.
Yeah, be very quiet about that. Larry Ellison could show up at my door and hit me in the neck with a blow dart.
Oh yeah. If you mysteriously disappear, one day we will know how it happened. It's okay.
All right. Last week I talked about Skinwalker Ranch, that documentary. Did anybody watch it?
No.
I saw it when I was looking for this trailer. I saw it there, but like I said, I didn't have enough time after
Yeah.
Justice League.
So there was the History Channel series. There's also a Hunt for the Skinwalker documentary that isn't what I'm talking about. It's got a lot of the same people, but it's not the show. But yeah. So I'm going to remind you, watch the first episode. And then if you want to know anything more, watch the last episode, skip everything in the middle. You're fine. On that note, one of my favorite shows of the last few years finally came back for season 3, and that is Final Space. This was a animated show on TVS that they've been re-airing on Cartoon Network under like Adult Swim. And this year I was super excited because they said it's also going to, it was going to be on HBO Max. Well, the first episode started airing and I said, well, I don't want to watch it on YouTube TV because I don't want to fast forward through commercials. I'll just watch it on HBO Max. All that's on HBO Max is season 1 and season 2.
Oh.
So I said, oh, maybe they're doing a Hulu thing. So I waited a couple days. Still, no. So either they lied or it's coming to HBO Max after. I don't know, whatever. So it was supposed to be day and date. But it's okay. I will say if you've watched it at all, season 3 picks up exactly where they left off. There's no beating around the bush, no dragging anything out. It's just straight into it and great. If you haven't seen it, this show dances it walks that tightrope very well between very funny and very, very like brutally painful, emotional. It does a good job of balancing. And yeah. Final Space. Watch it.
Okay. Are they going to have any more seasons? Or
I hope so. Everybody needs to go out and binge the first 2 seasons and watch season 3 that just started airing, so that they make out season 4. Whether or not Owen Rogers had a plan, I mean, it's an epic storyline where they basically we're still on that trajectory from the first episode, 3 seasons in, and I highly recommend it. Watch the first episode and you'll either be in or out. Okay. And so, Final Space. And on that note, this is where we say thank you for hanging out with us tonight. We appreciate all of you that come to watch us live. And if, you're listening to this after the fact and saying live, yes, that is an Interrobang there. See, I told you I use them a lot. But yes, we do this live every Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Central, here on Twitch TV. But for those of you watching us live and you say listening to after the fact, yes, this is we are essentially recording the podcast now. You get to watch us muddle through it and see our expressions and my confusion or disgust at different things. But then it goes out as a podcast, which is
that's
available.
90% of his emotional responses is confusion and disgust.
Disgust, yeah. But that goes out as a podcast where those people they maybe they can pick it up from my voice, but they don't get to see the visual cues. So whichever way you want to whichever way you would like to consume our content, you can. We won't judge you. We will just be grateful that you do. And if you haven't already, please go over to YouTube, do a search for the VOD Squad. and click follow. You don't have to ring the bell. We just need a few more follows so that we can get a actual YouTube name and not just be some gobbledygook. All right, well, stick around for the post show. Head on over to tbs.showbot.tv and vote on titles. There are a couple there, and definitely something worth voting for.
All right.
All right. Thanks, everybody. We will catch you next time. Hey, don't give it away.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.